Hi everybody, my name is Arden. Welcome to my channel. I'm a booktuber, a writer, and a bookstagrammer. All my social media links are down below if you want to check them out. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the most disappointing books I've read in 2020. Now, these are all the books that I had expectations for. These aren't the books that I just heard about recently and was like, okay, I'm gonna check them out and see if I like them, and then was disappointed. No, these were all the books that I just wanted to read for a while and did read them and ended up disliking them for whatever reason. Now, a lot of these books I personally own in physical copy. However, some of them are in Ireland or in the process of getting shipped to Ireland. Some of them I've given away, and some of them I don't own in physical copy. So let's get started. The first book that I want to talk about today is The Scorch Trials by James Dashner. This was a book that I think I read in February, and I rated it 2 stars. The thing about The Scorch Trials is that I love The Maze Runner. I love the movies as well. I actually read the first book before watching the movies, and then I went on to watch the movies without reading the rest of the series. Now, The Scorch Trials I think was one of my favorite movies, but the book just didn't deliver. I didn't feel a connection to the characters. I just enjoyed the movie more, okay? And it went into such a different and weird direction that I just couldn't really vibe with it. I did say that I'm gonna not read the entire series or the rest of the series because Newt is my favorite character. The next book is when, this is gonna be a spoiler, something happens and I'm not ready. If you've read The Maze Runner, if you've read this like series trilogy, whatever, you know what happens, and I'm not ready. Might change my mind though, but I doubt it. The next disappointing read of 2020 is one that is very controversial. I think I'm gonna get dragged. Listen, this is just my opinion. You are allowed to love this book, but I just didn't like it enough. I read it very early on in 2020. I've expected it to be something better, something more. However, it just wasn't my cup of tea, and that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I did talk about on my channel numerous times. I enjoyed the characters in Six of Crows, but it just didn't meet the hype for me. This book was so hyped that I genuinely thought it was going to be one of my favorites, but it was mediocre in my mind. I rated it 3 stars. However, I completely understand why that book was so hyped. And that book is exactly a book that my sister would like, so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna give it to my sister because these books deserve to be loved, and I think she will really enjoy them. I think they will be one of her favorites. The next book that I'm going to talk about is actually one that we have 2 physical copies of it. One is my brother's, one is my sister's, but they're not in this room. They are The Alchemist by Paulo something, I can't remember. The cover will be here. I thought this book was really hyped. I know this book was really hyped, to be honest. I've heard a lot of things about it many times. I've seen it everywhere. However, it was a little bit underwhelming. I also read it in Slovenian, so maybe that's why, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. It was a book that reminded me of a book that we would read at school. Okay, this is a book that I own, but I currently let my friend borrow. It is Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins. Why did I write Lola and the Girl Next Door? Anyway, Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins. I liked Anna and the French Kiss. It was a cute read that I finished at school when I went to school, and by the time the day was done, I was finished with it in one day. It was so fast. And honestly, I liked it. I did find it a little bit problematic, but Lola and the Boy Next Door, whew, that book infuriated me. That is one of the most disappointing reads of 2020. That is the most disappointing read in 2020. I know Island Happily Ever After gets better, which is why I'm gonna read it and finish this trilogy. However, after Lola and the Boy Next Door, I don't like it when the theme of the book is people who are in relationships getting with other people, or at least thinking about it. I don't like it. The lack of respect for the other person. And that's not even just one of the things that bothers me. Everything about that book bothers me. Lola, oh my god. Anyway, I'm disappointed. Moving on before I snap or say anything else. Up next is a book that I read in Slovenian, and it's called Therapy, or at least I think it's called Therapy in English. It was, I think, the first thriller I tried reading this year, and I ever tried reading. I don't read thrillers. I don't like thrillers. I don't like detective stories. I don't like what everybody else around me would normally read as we were growing up. I have my own tastes, and thriller wasn't one of them. And for this book to be an introduction to thrillers, it was a little bit disappointing because I expected so much more. I believe this is a psychological thriller that follows this guy whose daughter disappeared, and something about it just didn't... I struggled reading it. I don't know why. Maybe because it's in Slovenian. Maybe if I read it in English it'll be better. But the next book that I also struggled to read was Destined for Dune by Carrie, Corp, and Laurie Langdon. This is the sequel to Dune. I really enjoyed Dune. I loved it. I thought it was perfect. Maybe I waited too long before reading this one, but I really had high expectations. I still have a third book called Shades of Dune. This one was a little bit disappointing because I really thought it was gonna be this great read, that it was gonna have the same feel and magic as the first book. However, I don't know what it was, whether it was the infuriating main character McKenna and, you know, her bow, and how long it took them to talk to each other, and then in the end they suddenly became so in love and everything was fine, like just like that, you know. I don't know what it was. I just don't like this book. I did rate it, I think 3 stars possibly, I don't know. And the last book that I'm going to talk about today is Stuck Up Suit by Vi Keeland and Penelope Ward. This book was just so infuriating. It has a 4.13 star rating on Goodreads and has 53,777 ratings. It's a very popular book. But for me, it was a 2-star read. I hated the main character. I thought she was so frustrating, irritating. Oh, so annoying. I hated her. And it was really sad because I really had such high expectations. The way, you know how excited you get for a book when you finally find a book that you really want to read. Like, really, you need it now. That's how I felt with this one, and when I got it, I was shocked because I didn't expect to hate it so much. Definitely one of the most disappointing reads of 2020. You know what? Even though this concludes my list, I do have to say that a lot of people were disappointed by the Ballot of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is it a prequel or a spin-off to The Hunger Games? I personally, even though I rated it 3 stars, I wasn't really disappointed because, to be honest, I didn't even expect to read it. I didn't want to read it. I did not want to read it. But everybody was reading it, and so I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. I had no expectations, which is why I wasn't disappointed. Obviously, it went into a very different direction, but after watching a lot of videos about The Hunger Games prequel, I actually enjoyed that it's not the same as The Hunger Games. I love the direction of the story, even though I rated it 3 stars. I can appreciate Suzanne Collins and what she was trying to achieve. Those are my books that disappointed me in 2020. I hope you enjoyed. If there are books that you were disappointed by, let me know in the comments. This video is obviously not made to shit on any of the writers. These are just my personal opinions. They are my subjective opinions. They don't mean anything to anyone else other than myself and possibly, you know, the people who watch me if they want to learn my reading tastes. Not every book is going to be your cup of tea, and that is completely okay. As a writer, I know that, and even though I know how much it hurts when people don't like your book, it is also a reality that, you know, we all have to face. As writers or readers, you're not gonna love every single book you read or write. So yeah, subscribe, comment down below, click the like button and all that. I'll see you next time. Bye.